Welcome back for episode 2 of Dark Internet History, a series where I cover disturbing events that occurred in the history of the internet. If you haven't seen episode 1, a link to that should be appearing in the top corner now. If you enjoy internet mysteries and generally disturbing content, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. I also have a Patreon and a PayPal, so if you're interested in supporting the channel, feel free to check those out, links will be in the description. I personally tend to sign into every new website using Google or Facebook because it's so much easier than creating a new account each time, but I do worry that if someone were to hack my accounts, they'd basically have access to my whole life. That could mean my personal information, including my bank details and address, could be leaked, and there's also a possibility of identity theft and other serious crimes too. This video is sponsored by NordPass, an easy-to-use and secure password manager which can help reduce this risk in various ways. It can generate secure passwords for you, alert you if your passwords are too weak, or if you use them for more than 90 days, or the same password for various accounts. It also uses a data breach scanner to find out if your account details or credit card information has been leaked, allowing you to see where and when it happened. NordPass makes online shopping and browsing more convenient as it securely stores your details, including all your passwords, in one place, so you can access them with one master password and sync 6 different devices, saving you time and hassle. You might be thinking this is a lot of trust to place into one app, but all your details will be encrypted, so no one apart from you will be able to view them, including the NordPass team. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you don't just have to take my word for it, you can try it out yourself risk-free. You can even get an exclusive NordPass deal plus 1 extra month for free by using the code INTERNETINVESTIGATOR at the checkout or click the link in the description. This video will contain vague discussions of topics that some might find distressing. Viewer discretion is advised. You can head over to my Patreon for an uncut, ad-free version of this video, which features extra details that I couldn't include here. Paris Hilton was born in February 1981, and although she dreamed of being a veterinarian when she was younger, she would grow up to have a career that was much more public. She is the great-granddaughter of Conrad Hilton, founder of Hilton Hotels and Resorts, and her mother was a socialite and former child actor, so her name was enough to give her a bit of a push into the limelight. She had a strict upbringing and had to follow various rules like not going out, no dates, no makeup, as well as being made to attend etiquette classes, which she didn't enjoy because she felt it was all so fake. The lack of freedom eventually caused her to rebel, and from around the age of 16, when she started getting offers to show up in clubs for promotion, she became a socialite, using a fake ID to gain entry into clubs and high-profile events, inevitably attracting tabloid attention. As a result, her parents sent her to a number of boarding schools for emotionally troubled teens. The last school she attended was Provo Canyon School, where she later claimed to have been mentally and physically abused by the staff, which sadly isn't an unheard of occurrence in such places. When she was 19, Paris signed up to Donald Trump's modelling agency, and in addition to her popularity on the catwalk, she appeared in magazines like Vanity Fair, Vogue, and FHM. Her big break came in 2003 though, in the form of a reality TV show, The Simple Life, in which Paris and her childhood friend Nicole Richie, also a wealthy socialite, left behind their lives of luxury to live with a family in Arkansas for a month, and perform various jobs like farming, cleaning, and waiting tables. The Simple Life likely would have been a success regardless, but with the first episode pulling in 13 million viewers and the second 13.3 million, a contributing factor might well have been a video of the erotic variety titled One Night in Paris that leaked onto the internet shortly before the show aired. I'd be surprised if many of you haven't heard of this video. It's probably the most iconic tape of the era, alongside Kim Kardashian Superstar, which I might also cover in a future episode. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in that. Anyway, the video was filmed in May 2001 and features a 19-year-old Paris and a 32-year-old boyfriend at the time, Rick Salomon, a poker player who is best known for producing the video and for his high-profile marriages with actresses Elizabeth Daly and Shannon Doherty, and of course, Pamela Anderson. If you're a bit concerned about the fact that there's quite an age gap between Paris and Rick, you're not the only one, and what makes it even weirder is that Rick reportedly mentions her young age throughout the video. I haven't seen it, and after learning everything I'm about to share in this video, I don't really want to see it, so I can't exactly give you a review, but I doubt there was much of a plot. And apparently most of it was filmed with one stationary camera using night vision. It can be purchased on Amazon, and while the overall rating is 4 stars, it has mixed reviews, with some just happy to see Paris in such a tape and others less easily amused. For example, one customer said, "It was as it says on the label, overrated, very amateur, as expected." And another described it as good to average, feels a bit seedy at times. The tape, or at least part of it, initially made its way onto the internet and gained traction instantly before being edited into a 62-minute long DVD that was distributed by Red Light District Video in June 2004. In 2005, it received AVN Awards for Best Renting Title of the Year, Best Selling Title of the Year, and Best Overall Marketing Campaign Individual Project, plus an FAME Award for Favourite Celebrity Tape in 2008. Creepy little tidbit, Donald Trump admitted to watching the tape with Melania, and in an interview with Howard Stern in the early 2000s had this to say. Now, somebody who a lot of people don't give credit to but is actually very beautiful is Paris Hilton. I've known Paris Hilton from the time she's 12, her parents are friends of mine, and the first time I saw her she walked into the room and I said, "Who the hell is that?" At 12 I wasn't interested, but she was beautiful. This would all be well and good, the popularity of the video that is, not Trump's revolting comment, if Paris actually consented to it being published, but this is dark internet history, so I'm sure you've guessed, she didn't. When rumours of the tape's existence first surfaced, she didn't personally make a statement on it straight away, though one of her reps said this on her behalf. This was something she did with Rick while they were dating after he was no longer with Shannon, and it was something that was intended for their own personal use. This tape was never intended to be viewed by the public, and it is in poor taste that someone has decided to release it. Her family also spoke out, quote, "The Hilton family is greatly saddened at how low human beings will stoop to exploit their daughter Paris, who is sweet-natured, for their own self-promotion as well as profit motives. Anyone in any way involved in this video is guilty of criminal activity and will be vigorously prosecuted." It appears that at this point it wasn't totally clear how the tape had been leaked or who had done it, and I'm still not clear on that, as some sources state it was Rick and others imply it was someone else or a company. When Paris, who prior to this had already had inappropriate photos taken of her leaving a taxi, finally made a statement, she said she felt embarrassed and humiliated, and spoke about being in an intimate relationship and never thinking these things would become public. According to NDTV, Paris Hilton says having a tape of her leaked was the most humiliating thing that has ever happened to her. The 30-year-old socialite, who made the video with her then-boyfriend Rick Salomon at the age of 20, felt betrayed by her former lover because the scandal changed the way people thought of her and unfairly damaged her reputation. She said, "It was the most embarrassing, humiliating thing that has ever happened to me in my life. I just felt so betrayed. This was not some random guy, this was someone I was with for a few years. I can't believe that he would do something like that to me. It's something that changed my life forever. You know, I was a little girl. Now when people look at me, they think I'm something I'm not, just because of one incident, one night, with someone who I was in love with. People assume, oh, she's a slut, just because of one thing that happened. It's hard because I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life, and explain it to my children." Furthermore, Paris implied that the footage wasn't totally consensual and stated that she had been out of it, which I assume means intoxicated, and didn't know what she was doing while being filmed, and certainly didn't agree to its release to the public. This sparked a legal battle in which Rick sued the Hilton family for $10 million for defamation, as they, according to him, wrongfully suggested that he exploited Paris, which damaged his reputation. He also alleged that Hilton representatives had falsely claimed Paris was underage in the video in an attempt to suppress its spread in media outlets. Paris countersued Rick over the release of the tape, as well as Kahatani Limited, the company that distributed it, for violation of privacy, illegal business practices, and infliction of emotional distress, seeking $15 million in actual damages and a further $15 million in punitive damages. I can't make total sense of this situation, partly because I'm not knowledgeable enough on court cases to fully comprehend how they work, and partly because different sources word it differently, so a slightly different version of events can be inferred from each one. Either Paris countersued Rick and filed a separate lawsuit against Kahatani, or she sued them both together, or Rick was affiliated with Kahatani, and so by suing him, they got roped in too. I'm not really sure. Until this point, I suppose you could kind of rationalise not being totally opposed to Rick if you believe his version of events, which I personally don't, and think Paris was attempting to mislead the public about the video to protect her reputation, but it seems pretty clear to me that she did not want that video making public. Again, I haven't seen the video, I can't comment on whether it looks like she's intoxicated. I'm not her, so I can't say whether or not she really did know what was happening at the time, but I do believe her when she said she thought that video would stay between her and Rick. And if he hadn't already exploited Paris, what he did next was the cherry on top. In April 2004, he began distributing the film himself in collaboration with Red Light District, an adult film company. Regardless of what his thoughts were prior to this, he was now undoubtedly aware that Paris was not comfortable with the video being publicised, and that she actively tried to stop its spread, and he basically stuck his middle finger up at her and spread it even more. 3 months later, Paris's lawsuit was dismissed, and Rick decided to drop his lawsuit too. They settled out of court, with Rick and Red Light District Video agreeing to pay Paris $400,000 plus a percentage of the video's profits, which Paris reportedly donated to charity. Misinformation strikes again, as it has alternatively been reported that Paris claimed to have not earned any money from the video, and instead said that Rick should donate a percentage of the profits to charity. It seems to be true that Paris herself did not make any money from the tape, viewing the profits as blood money, but whether or not Rick actually donated any of the profits to charity on her behalf isn't clear. Throughout much of her life, Paris has been the subject of harsh criticism. In 2006, an Associated Press and AOL poll determined that she was the second worst celebrity role model after Britney Spears. In 2007, a Gallup poll found that 63% of Americans felt very unsympathetic towards her, and that same year she was given the title World's Most Overrated Celebrity by Guinness World Records. In 2011, a poll found that 60% of Americans viewed her unfavourably, concluding that she was the most unpopular celebrity. She has been credited as being the pioneer of influencers, and while there certainly was a time that she was famous just for being famous, there's actually so much more to her, and she's accomplished a lot since, especially considering some of the major difficulties she has faced. In the 2020 documentary This Is Paris, she talks about suffering with severe insomnia and recurring nightmares where people come into her room and try to harm her. It's made very clear that she has deep-rooted trust issues, partly due to the leaked tape, and even struggled to trust her family in the past when her parents sent her away again after she was abused at the schools they made her go to. She has also been in numerous controlling and physically abusive relationships, which would have undoubtedly contributed to her trust issues too. This wasn't mentioned in the doc, but another invasion of privacy she experienced was in 2007 when a website was set up that charged people a fee to access various items belonging to Paris, including jewellery, clothing, diaries, credit card bills, emails, medical records, bank statements, photos, and reportedly more erotic tapes that had never been released to the public. These items ended up on the site after a mix-up in which a third party apparently failed to pay the fee for Paris's storage locker, and as a result the items were sold for $2,775 to an unnamed buyer. Despite these challenges, and no matter what the public perception of her was, Paris has starred in a few movies, released an album, become a pretty successful DJ. In fact, she was the highest paid female DJ in 2014. She has her own brand that includes 19 product lines and 45 boutiques around the world. It's undeniable that being born into wealth with the last name Hilton gave her a significant head start, but she does work incredibly hard to maintain her career, as well as activism and charity work she's done too. She has donated and raised money for various charities, including children's hospitals and orphanages, where she has visited too. She's worked with LGBT rights organisations, the American Red Cross, and has protested against programs for youths, like the boarding schools she attended, where abuse is allegedly rife, among other projects. I'm not saying she's made no mistakes, they're pretty well documented if you want to look into them, but I really believe she's a product of an environment that chewed her up and spat her back out, and with that said, you still have to admire her determination to succeed, no matter what life has thrown at her. I remember a bit of a conspiracy theory floating around online a few years ago that despite her ditzy persona, Paris is actually very intelligent, and what her mum said in the documentary appeared to confirm that. The persona seems to be a wall that she has built to protect herself and prevent anyone seeing the real her. She can't be herself because that would make her vulnerable and open to attacks, and I'm sure many of us can relate to that. Paris has been quoted as saying, "People assume before they meet me that I'm a really ditzy, dumb blonde. That's the one thing that kind of annoys me sometimes. They just think because of the reality show that that's who I really am, but that was just a character that I created. I didn't realise what a huge success it would be. With everything that's happening though, with my business, I think people can understand that you couldn't possibly get this far being a dumb blonde." It's debatable to what extent One Night in Paris helped or hindered her career. On one hand, it certainly pushed her name into crowds that might not have otherwise taken any interest in her, and on the other, it unfairly tarnished her reputation and will likely continue to do so, at least to some extent, for the rest of her life. In the documentary, she opened up about the tape again and explained that she got into a relationship with Rick when she was 18, and it was her first proper relationship. She loved him and wanted to make him happy, so when he pulled out a camera and started calling her boring and threatening to ask someone else instead, while promising no one would ever see it, she felt pressured into it. She maintains that she did not want the tape to be viewed by the public and had no reason to because she had her own plan to be successful, but when the video was leaked, it took that away from her. The release of this video and its popularity highlight the inappropriate obsession the public has with celebrities and the lack of respect they are shown as human beings. Quite like how people were so obsessed with the Olsen twins turning 18, even though it made them feel uncomfortable, no one gave a crap that Paris didn't want this video out there. No one cared that it caused her psychological damage that persists to this day. As long as they got to see the goods, that's all that matters. It really puts into perspective how far people will go for gratification of that kind, and I guess when the whole internet blows up over something like this, the herd mentality discourages individuals from stopping and questioning it. One Night in Paris also speaks to the double standard that exists when such tapes are released. Two people starred in it, and yet Paris got all the flack from this. It was her who was branded with various derogatory terms, her who gets shamed for being filmed doing something that almost every adult on the planet has done, and Rick didn't really get any of that. He, in my opinion, exploited Paris, pressured her into doing something she didn't really want to do, and got to sit back and reap the benefits with barely a scratch on his reputation. That video turned a profit because of Paris. No one was watching it for Rick. He could have been any sleazy older guy and it wouldn't have made a difference. Paris was the star of a show she never wanted to be involved in, and yet she never received a penny from it. Nothing but shame and trauma. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments, plus any suggestions you might have for a future episode of Dark Internet History. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Remember to click the link in the description or use the code InternetInvestigator to get an exclusive NordPass deal and 1 extra month totally free. Huge thank you to my patrons whose names are on screen now. I really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday in a new video.